Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti and I'm joined today by Harold Muliani, who's not only co-hosting, but he's running the video switcher and mixer. Geoff couldn't make it today. He had an appointment with a fun tax accountant. That's always fun. Even in Australia, the land of perfect, they have tax accountants. Anyway, he'll be here next week. In the meantime, I think we're going to talk about things we want, desire, maybe can or can't afford, but we'll see. Here we go.
This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation
back
at www.relate.com, your training and video partner.
Is that too loud, Harold?
Let's lower it just a tad. Here we go. And we're back.
We are back. So we were thinking, there's a lot of stuff coming out, and there's a lot of stuff that's already out. Harold, what are you thinking of getting? One thing.
I mean, honestly, I don't look too much at the stuff that's just coming out. The things that I think of getting usually are things that have been out for a while, so I know I can look at people's reviews and see that it's kind of time tested. And I suppose my next camera related buy that I'm thinking of getting is a macro lens, and specifically the one I've been looking at is a Sigma 105mm macro. And I like taking pictures of really small things, but I currently don't really have a lens that I can do that with on my my DSLR, which is the Canon 5 DSR, and I would like to be able to take advantage of that huge resolution, just get these ridiculous pictures of tiny things, because I enjoy looking at tiny things. That's
pretty good. He's not a risk taker, can you tell? He doesn't want to buy new things. Smart. Me, on the other hand, I buy all sorts of new crap and I sell it.
Hey, if we didn't have guys like Rick, there wouldn't be innovation, because
we fund innovation. It's true though. Actually, the people who are always on that bleeding edge, if you don't bleed out, you're doing okay. You're just helping innovate a little bit. So what am I thinking of? Well, one, I'm looking at now. You know, Harold, we went through a Sony period. It lasted like 6 months.
Yes.
And before you guys think anything is weird, like where do we get all this money? We're a company. We actually develop e-learning and training courses, corporate video, and other things. So we have more money coming in than what we spend on, let's say, photography, which we spend almost nothing on, but we have photo cameras. But as a result, we sometimes have discretionary income due to taxes, meaning we've either made too much money and we have to get tax breaks because they kill you otherwise. So we invest in technology, but not always do we make great investments. However, the good thing is once you invest in and resell it, you take a small loss, but it kind of makes up for it in the tax deductions that you get from investing in the first place. So about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, we bought 3 Sony cameras. We bought the A9, we bought the
A7R
R2, right? No.
A7R2, yes.
No, it was the R3.
The 3?
A7R3.
A7R3, okay.
And then we also got the A6500. We actually probably should have kept the A6500 because it was a really cool little camera. And we also got a lot of lenses. Well, we sold it all. And partly because we were still thinking Canon might be a better way to go. And it's not a bad way to go, but Canon does so many things that are screwy that, I don't know, I for one am losing a lot of confidence in what they're doing, or at least the line we've invested in. So for example, we just sold our Canon EOS R. And that was a popular camera. It sold within a day, half day on eBay. If you want, by the way, some good Canon camcorders, we do have our, and by the way, this is September 6th,
correct.
2019. So if you're watching this later, it's probably going to be gone. We just put these up. But we have a Canon XF 400 camcorder, and we have an XF 405 camcorder for sale, as well as 2 Canon XA6035s. All are really good. 3 of them have SDI interfaces, so if you need that, it's great. And we use that for broadcasting, but we're going to be upgrading some of the gear soon. And the XF400 and 405 weren't the best for acting like what you're seeing right now, which is a very expensive webcam right now. It's strictly our studio, one of our studio cameras, and it's the XF705. We haven't been using it much recently, so we put it up as this. We're probably going to put up one of our Panasonics, maybe the GH5S or something else, the GH5, as our studio cam soon. But we're looking at buying some other maybe Canon camcorders, probably maybe some of the newer ones, XA11 or XA15s. They're more than good enough for what we do. Or maybe we'll get a Blackmagic studio.
And you may have heard me clicking around just then. I was looking for the picture of Rick in front of the XF705. Here it is. Here's what
it's a little bit of overkill. It's a beautiful camera. It's a camcorder. It's a $7,000 camcorder, 6,900. It was expensive. It does a lot, and we've done corporate shooting with it, but we're not always using this. But it's a really nice camcorder. Canons are okay. They're not the sharpest. The image you're seeing right now, while not perfect, is as good as we were able to get it. Spending, an hour and a half on this thing?
Well,
it's a pain.
Today, I don't know. How much did we spend today?
Well, here today was like 15 minutes. Yesterday was a good hour.
Yeah.
And this is what we get. It's not bad.
I guess the thing is, with this camera, it's similar to the 405 in a lot of ways. It costs a lot more, but they try to give you all the options in the world.
A lot more options, which they should be giving in all their camcorders, but typical Canon, they cripple everything.
And they give you finer control on a lot of the options. For example, with sharpness on the XF405, you get a range of -5 to 5. Here, it's -50 to 50, and that seems like they're giving you more sharpness, but it's actually just finer control. So 30 on this is the same as 3 on the 405.
Right. So it's sort of interesting. It gives you... Well, no, it did. You're right. It's about 30. Mm-hmm. So, because if you have too much sharpness, you become very alien, as we've seen before. And coloring is tricky. You have a lot more coloring on this, but it's not as easy to color when you look at screen and lighting and everything else. So, yesterday I was not quite a pumpkin. Today I'm almost human. These are not the best studio webcams, if you will.
We're dialing in the settings. Basically, yesterday we got the contrast of it better, and today we've been tweaking the color.
But we're doing things you normally don't have to do with a camcorder. So on this one, you don't get a lot of presets. You have to literally figure out what you're doing. And we've white balanced umpteen times, and we're not getting the right balance from it happens. But we didn't have that problem with the 405 as much, and we definitely didn't have that problem with the XA35 or the 25 or the 10 we had before that. We've been with Canon for a long, long time as far as camcorders go, and they're okay. But we are looking at some other solutions also for the studio, and so we may look at some other cameras, something that's sharp, and we'll do some testing, and then we'll see what we like best. But this is a very expensive. Right now, this is overkill for a studio cam. Absolute overkill. It's basically a cinema camcorder. So it is what it is. But it's not replaceable lenses. So you get one lens, which is exactly the same as the 400 and the 405. What changes are the controls on the body and the software, which allows a lot more control. But as a result, a lot more work to get at something that looks okay.
And I'm going to zoom in on it here so you can see some of these controls that we have there. You can see that it's basically anywhere you touch on this camera, you're coming up against some kind of switch or button, which, I mean, it's a good thing. That means less menu diving.
But and it's nice because if you do a lot of shooting with this, you'll memorize it in short time. The problem is we're not using it that much, or at least we aren't. We've got other people who do the shooting with us, and they're more used to it, so they're quick at shooting with it. But you have to practice these cameras. Like anything else, if you don't practice, you won't be that good at it. But the other thing is, I'm looking at some Sonys again. Harold's not surprised. He's just going, there he goes again. I like the new Sony a6600 that's going to come out. I love the 6500. It was a really good camera. We're not going to invest in a ton of lenses at this point, but when it comes out, we're probably going to get that one maybe with two lenses, one zoom and one maybe 50 millimeter or something of the sort for more of the portrait kind of shot. And then we'll see how it even works as maybe a possible studio cam, because it might. It has supposedly clean HDMI output. It shoots 4K, no overheating, and it's crisp. It's really sharp. I'll tell you, right now, nobody's got as good a focus as Canon, period. No one. Canon is not as good as Sony. Did I say Canon?
Yeah.
As Sony. Sony has the best focus of everyone right now, period.
Yeah, from our experience with the ones we had before, they were super fast on the focus and just tack sharp.
Amazing. You can even backlight it with like a really bright, burned out image behind you, like an open window or door.
Yeah, we did a test with that. I'll link it below so that you can check that out.
It was pretty amazing.
That was with the A9.
Yeah, and the detail with that A9 and actually all of their chips, really, on most of the backlit chips, they can do it. You didn't lose. It was a little darker, but you didn't lose a lot of detail. Whereas with Canon, I think Canon came in last on our test.
I think so.
Yeah, and Panasonic, surprisingly, on the GH5 came in second. We didn't think it'd come in at all. It actually didn't do that badly. And that's before they had all those firmware updates to fix some of the focus issues. But, we like our Panasonics. We've got 2 GH5s. We've got a G9. We've got the GH5S. And every one of them shoots well. Okay, if you're trying to shoot moving, tracking, it's okay. It's better than it was. It's not perfect. They really ought to get off the contrast only and go to phase detect with contrast. That would be nice. But I don't know what their deal is with the phase detect. Everybody else is doing it except maybe Olympus, but they're not getting with it. Even on their S1H, the new one, they're still doing only contrast or depth by defocus. I don't know. I've seen videos. It looks good, but none of them are really showing fast moving objects. What do you think, Harold?
Yeah, but with the Panasonics in general, I guess to give you an idea for all the people that are watching, when here in our studio and at the office here, whenever we just kind of need to take a picture or a short video or something, we're pretty much always reaching for the GH5 or the G9 just because they're really versatile. They're really
sharp.
Reliable.
They're sharp. Sort of they don't need a lot of light. They look great.
And they're very reliable, especially after the firmware update.
The G9 is one of our best photo cameras. I would say it was better than the EOS R and some of the other full frames we've had. It shoots comparable to the A9 or the A7R3. Haven't tried the A7R4, but it shoots that well. For a Micro Four Thirds, you'd be surprised at the quality you get out of that. I'd say it's no worse than Canon.
Yeah, and then as soon as you need video, whether it's 1080, 4K, you need slow-mo, time-lapse, then it'll just do it, and it's easy.
Yeah, and the video is great. If you're not tracking a really fast, like a car or something, it's not bad. And even tracking cars, sometimes it's okay as long as you're not trying to do a really fast track. Mm-hmm. There is one thing I would like, but no. I saw this the other day on one of the podcasts. It's the new Porsche Taycan. Tacon. It's almost like Tachyon, but it's Tacon. It's amazing. It can go up to 160 miles an hour. It's electric. It's totally electric, and it can do 0 to 60 in, get this, 2.5 seconds. Kind of fast.
Wait, what is it?
It's a Porsche sports car.
Oh, a Porsche.
It's a sports coupe. It's very cool. It looks like one of our Striker computers, the ones we built. Has a very Star Wars look. It's all white with the black windows and white wheels. It's really pretty. Doesn't make any noise. Yeah, which is kind of weird. I don't know how they did that. Maybe they have fake noise. Because when you have a sports car, you want to kind of rev it up. No, quiet, really quiet. Anyway, that's 150,000 to 200,000. It has 2 gears. 2. It has get going and go fast. So it's pretty neat. The Tacon. I don't know if it's spelled Tacon or...
there it is. It's Taycan.
Taycan. Taycan.
I suppose so.
Taycan.
I guess.
It's a pretty car, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. It does look like those striker cases.
It does. It looks like our PCs that we build with the Cooler Master striker case. So maybe it's one really big computer in there. It's a pretty cool looking car. And that competes directly with the Tesla sports car. I don't know what model that one is. But that also does 2.5 seconds, 0 to 60. Amazing. I think one day we want to get a Canon C200 for filming and for whatever else.
Here's that striker case that we were talking about.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's what we have. We have about 4 machines with that case.
Good cases. There's actually a little drawer on the bottom of these that holds all your extra screws and stuff.
Nuts and screws, yeah.
It's very convenient.
So that when your brain goes, it's all in there. When you lose your nuts and screws, there we go.
Yeah.
Even holds marbles, so... No, it's really a cool case, and the machines you can build with it are pretty fast. If you have the right motherboards and everything, they're super fast. Though they're not as fast right now as the Alienwares that we're using. So we're using a couple of Alienwares, and they're pretty darn quick too, especially for video editing, rendering. And in fact, our studio machine is an Alienware Area 51 R4. That's the previous model, and we have a couple of R5s as well. They're pretty cool.
Let's just say we haven't really done anything that's taxed it. So
yeah,
and we've run a lot of video inputs into this thing at once. So
and what will we 2%?
I think the most it's gone is like 10% or something.
10%. I don't know what we were doing then, but more often than it's like 2 to 4%.
A lot of videos going in at once.
Yep, it's amazing. So it's a really good, cool tool. I kind of want the Panasonic S1H. So I'm not 100% sure. I've been watching reviews saying, while it's great, you'd be better off with a Canon C200. So I'm doing some research on that because that maybe in the future we'll get a C200. The price difference isn't that much, about $1,000 more. That's it. So when you're looking at that kind of price, if you're going to spend $4,500, $5,500 isn't that much more. But again, we're not sure. We don't know if we need it, but it's a want.
And we do have quite a lot of EF lenses still that would be able to work with that.
Though I tell you, we've had EF lenses. I was almost more impressed with the sharpness and clarity of it. Could have been really tainted by the camera itself, but the Sony lenses are really good.
They were, yeah.
Would you say they were better?
Possibly. I didn't use them a whole lot, so I wouldn't be able to say definitively. They
were not as soft. They were definitely not as soft as Canon.
And they also on the whole tended to be slightly smaller and lighter.
Yes.
If that's a pro for you, then
yeah, and it is if you're traveling a lot or anything else. But I've gone through airport schlepping 30 pounds of gear. It gets tiring. No matter how young or old you are, it gets tiring. Especially if you're in like Dallas and you've got to cross through terminals and the trams aren't working. It's a walk. And usually it's a run because they usually schedule your flights within 25 minutes. Like, I gotta get there. And we've had the doors closed on us. That wasn't fun. So we know what that's like. But what else? What else are we looking at getting or thinking about? The A6600, maybe one day the RX100, maybe Mark 7. By the way, last week we were talking about returning the Canon G7X Mark III. It's gone. It is gone. Last Friday we turned it in. We returned it to Best Buy. The girl said, "Was there anything wrong with it?" I said, "Do you want me to start?" She didn't say a word. She just took it back. Meaning they've gotten a lot of returns on that camera. She didn't even ask. She just went, "Okay." I was surprised because I was going to go into full litany of, well, let's see, we got overheating, horrendous focus, lousy focus, even worse focus. It just didn't work. The focus sucked. It overheated at 1080p and 4K. Not so much at 1080, but if you did 4K first and tried to go to 1080 before it overheated, it would get you. I had at least 10 overheatings total with it. And the bad part is once you overheated, it wasn't just 5 minutes. It was 45 minutes to an hour to be able to use it again. Dumb.
And we've mentioned this quite a few times already on the show, but I still think it was ridiculous. We even put it in the fridge for a while, and it was
in the fridge for 45 minutes.
So
and it didn't do it.
They've got to have some sort of weird firmware issue that's
The sensor is probably
Locking it
set
up.
too sensitive, and it just thinks everything is heating it up. And for an $800, almost $800 camera, it's not worth it. You know, I like the camera, by the way. I think we all did. It
Yeah.
took nice pictures. It took good video, but the focus was poor. And for a video blogging camera, very, very poor.
I think the bottom line was you kind of got it as more of a travel camera, and you don't want a travel camera to be unreliable.
No,
Because,
those are pictures you want to keep.
yeah.
And or even as a second camera, if you're just on the road somewhere, you want to do a quick podcast.
And for other purposes, we have better cameras. So,
Yeah. I think soon we're going to get the Rode Wireless Go.
oh
The
yeah,
little one?
yeah.
We're just dying to try that. We
The
have the
tiny little-
no, what's the other one called? The
The
video something or other. It's the Rode wireless system.
yeah.
Is it the Video Pro? Video something or other.
No,
That's how much we use them.
that's the one with video and the name something else. It's now it's slipping my
Yeah.
mind too.
Yeah,
It's,
we use Sennheisers for the most part with the wireless systems, but the Rode's a great one, but they're bulky. But this Rode Wireless Go is quite unique and clever, very small.
it's the Road Link, right?
The Road Link,
The Road
that's
Link,
it.
yeah.
The Road Link. Everything has road in it. Road. You know how hard it is to do a vocal search on that? Nothing ever comes up.
And half the time they've got the funny with the crossed auto.
So, but they're good. They actually have a nice sound to them. And the little Rode Wireless Go's sound great. For the price, you get for $200, you get a pair, a receiver and a transmitter. They're both the same size, about a 1/4 inch. So even if you don't have a hot shoe and whatever camera you have, like a travel camera, you can just Velcro it or attach it to something else. It's so light. Other people just hang it by the 3.5 millimeter jack. It doesn't weigh anything. Very clever. 7 hours of battery life on one charge from USB. That'll do for a day usually. That's if you're constantly using it. It's not bad.
And let's see. Here's what they. Wait, let me bring this up. Here's what they look like. You can't see it next to a person here, so you don't really have a sense of scale. But they're very small. I mean, there's a 3.5.
It's about a 1 square inch device.
Yeah, it's very small. You can see there's a 3.5 millimeter cable
And that includes
there,
a transmitter and receiver, meaning they're that small, the whole thing. Now, will this work in a very heavily metalled up building? Probably not. It may have some issues because I don't think you have that many frequencies on these. And sometimes when you go to certain buildings, high rises, there's a lot of noise in those buildings, from electrical noise, fan noise, distortions, electromagnetic frequencies, you name it. The big buildings have it. Even some of the Sennheisers, you've got to change frequencies to find one that works, and it's not always that easy. So I doubt these would be that good at $200. Even the Rode Links, which can change frequencies automatically, may run into some problems in some kinds of buildings. Other than that, it's usually okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's about time, I guess. We've been on longer than we thought, but cause we have a lot of things we like. We really do like gear. So, Harold, anything else you're looking at?
Not particularly right now, but I just wanted our viewers to keep in mind. So just know this: tech and taxes go together.
They do.
And Geoff
Tech
Blanchard
and
knows that
taxes.
because he's handling it right now.
Yeah, that's right. He's going through his own tax things. He wants to buy more mics. Needs more money. Anyway, have a good one, everyone. We will see you next week. I think we may even have a guest next week. We'll see. Take care. Great weekend. I hope wherever you are, if you're in the winter areas, stay warm. If you're in the summer areas like we are, stay cool. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.